Master Your Destiny on 99 FM.
Welcome to the MYD studios. Emma Sadleir, we are delighted to have you with us in studio to inform us and educate us.
Thank you very much for having me. It's awesome to be here.
It's absolutely great to have you here. Let's talk a little bit about you. Tell us about yourself.
So I'm a lawyer. I live in Johannesburg and I run a social media law consultancy. A lot of it actually is reputation management. It's a fascinating field. Every single day is different. A lot of it just involves staying ahead of the curve, but most of the work that I do involves education. So going around the country, the continent, even internationally, I've done quite a lot of work teaching people about social media law, what the laws are, what the disciplinary consequences are if you get it wrong at school level and at companies, and how to look after your reputation, because the truth of the matter is that everyone's become a celebrity in the digital age. So we need to start managing that reputation.
What interests you about social media law right now?
So I think what's fascinating is that historically, media law only applied to the traditional media, to journalists, people who were on radio, on television, writing the front page article of the newspaper. And then suddenly, with the social media revolution, everybody had a voice. Everybody who has an internet connection now has instant access to an international, public, permanent platform. And I think the big message that I'm trying to spread far and wide at the moment is that digital content is dangerous content. That as soon as something exists in digital format, it's out of your control. Because the screenshot is the devil. Every single case that lands up on my desk is because of the screenshot. And it's just turned what historically was a fairly transient, temporary conversation, something you and I would say to each other over lunch, into something that's potentially permanent and potentially publishable. The internet is a very permanent place. We talk about the tattoo effect of the internet in my talks. That once it's out there, it's out there. It's very, very difficult to get content deleted from the internet.
Wow. And that's scary to think about, and it's something worth thinking about the next time you're going to post.
Absolutely.
It's permanent.
For me, reputation is everything. So there are legal consequences, there are disciplinary consequences. We've had a lot of high-profile cases in South Africa, but you see cases literally every single day. Even if the wheels of justice turn slowly, in 3 or 4 years' time, the legal stuff's going to be done. But the real harm, I think, is done to your reputation. And I always quote Warren Buffett, who said it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it.
Absolutely.
And I think with social media, it takes 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of examples of that in illustrations around the world.
I've heard as well that it is so easy for child traffickers to get information, exact location. If you take a photo because of GPS location in every single photo, it means that somebody who is wanting to kidnap your child can so easily download technology to figure out where it is that you pick your child up from school, where it is that you stay, which road you take to go home. They can work out your entire life.
Absolutely.
And it just makes it easier.
Yeah, and it sounds like scaremongering, but I'm afraid I do know of a lot of cases. Because I'm on the ground, I'm often phoned in these crisis situations. Where children go to school, what school uniform they wear, what their names are, exactly where they live. Instagram location services, for example. We had that high-profile case of Kim Kardashian being robbed in the Paris hotel room. She had her location services on Instagram. So they knew not just which hotel she was staying in, but which room in that hotel she was staying in. And they came in and she'd Instagrammed a picture of her wearing a diamond. And they said, we want this diamond. And they showed her the Instagram photo. It's people really understanding how important it is from a security point of view, and also from an identity theft point of view. Identity theft is real. The famous quote from Frank Abagnale, do you remember that film Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio? His famous quote was, give me a person's full date of birth and I'm 95% of the way to stealing their identity. We all put our full date of birth on Facebook. Hide the year. People taking pictures of official documents. Today when I flew here, I could have taken a picture of my visa and said, woohoo, off to Namibia, #blessed, and then everybody's got my full passport number, my full name, all this kind of stuff. I have to phone a friend at least once a week to say, what the hell are you doing putting that on Facebook?
Really?
Delete it, yeah.
And how do you have those conversations? Because we've all got those friends that put things on social media that we think, why are you doing this to yourself? How do you have those conversations?
Well, I think that I'm in a pretty privileged position because it's my job. I'm like self-proclaimed policeman of social media amongst my friends. So when I phone them and shout at them, then they kind of have to listen. And if they don't, then I unfriend them or unfollow them. My core message is always, if you wouldn't put it on a billboard, don't let it exist in digital format. It's the bottom line, because the laws are the same. The disciplinary consequences are the same. The impact to your reputation is worse because it doesn't matter how long that billboard is up. At some stage it gets taken down, but the internet does not forget. If you get it wrong today, it's still going to come up in a Google search in 5 or 10 years' time. And that's why we can't get it wrong. That's why we can't let that content exist. So It's a lot of education. A lot of it is very common sense. I'm afraid common sense is not always that common, which is why I have a job. But it's not rocket science. None of what I'm saying is rocket science. It's just understanding that when you go online, all those real world obligations still apply to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And another bit of advice would be to get your hands on Don't Film Yourself Having Sex, which you co-authored.
I did. And other legal advice for the age of social media. I actually erred giving it such a risque title because I think parents don't want to buy it for their children because it's got sex in the title. I promise it's not about sex. It's a codification of everything I talk about, what the laws are, how social media affects your children, how social media affects companies, businesses, and then general stuff like what happens to your social media accounts when you die and how to stay safe online dating. So it's a very easy to read book. It's not in legalese. It's not a textbook. There are no footnotes. There are no case names. And it is available online. So if anybody wants to read up more, then they can start there. It's got all the content in there.
And many people have said it is an absolute must-have and a must-read for anybody, which is everybody, that uses social media in today's world.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emma. It's been so insightful to have you in studio. You've definitely informed me. I, for one, am going to do a few things and checking up a few things. But thank you. Really, it's such important and such valuable information.
Thank you very much for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Master your destiny on 99 FM.